Hello, my name is Aisling and welcome to my channel, and it is April, which means I believe you're here looking for an April TBR. A disclaimer as ever, I am an absolute mood reader. Who knows what I'm actually going to read. But I have 5 books here that I hope to get to this month or sometime eventually. First things first, I've already started this because we are quite a few days into April already. It is the 5th today. Time flies, doesn't it? Even when you're not having fun. Okay, book number 1 I may have mentioned before. It is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. So we follow a girl called Mia Corvier, and little old Mia at the ripe old age of 10 gets to watch her dad be hung in a public arena. Isn't that lovely? Basically, she doesn't want to let that go and she's out to get everybody who is responsible. Good for her, right? I'm going to read the blurb. So Mia Corvier is only 10 years old when she is given her first lesson in death. Destined to destroy empires, the child raised in shadows made a promise on the day she lost everything, to avenge herself on those that shattered her world. But the chance to strike against such powerful enemies will be fleeting, and Mia must become a weapon without equal. Before she seeks vengeance, she must seek training among the infamous assassins of the Red Church of Itrea. Inside the church's halls, Mia must prove herself against the deadliest of opponents and survive the tutelage of murderers, liars, and demons at the heart of a murder cult. The church is no ordinary school, but Mia is no ordinary student. Sounds a bit boring, right? No, I'm actually already 139 pages into this lovely little book. It is part of a trilogy. The next book is called God's Grave, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of the third book, so we'll just put it here. Thank God for post-editing, right? So far I'm enjoying it, but it's a bit different than I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. There are a lot of like footnotes in this that are maybe relevant further down the line, but at the moment sometimes they feel a little bit irrelevant and silly. I'm into book 2 now and I'm starting to find it quite interesting, so I'm looking forward to reading a bit more. So the next book that I absolutely know I will read this month, or really hope to, is a book by Kate Atkinson called Shrines of Gaiety. I've actually never read any Kate Atkinson before. I also seem to struggle to say Atkinson. There we go. But this is a book that I will be reading for my library book club, which will be in 6 days, and I haven't actually started it yet. Working on it. I'm confident that I'll get there. It is, oh gosh, it's over 400 pages. Best get started, I think, but I'll read the blurb. I actually don't really know what it's about, but I know that a lot of the time in the library book club we have been reading books that have been a bit like about people's trauma, which is fine. I do like a bit of sad, but I'm kind of getting to the point now where I'm like, lads, can we read like a light-hearted book? Now, in saying that, The Lincoln Highway was a library book club book and it was pretty great. So I'll read the blurb. 1926, and in a country still recovering from the Great War, London has become the focus for a delirious new nightlife. In the clubs of Soho, peers of the realm rub shoulders with starlets, foreign dignitaries with gangsters, and girls sell dances for $1 a time. The notorious queen of this glittering world is Nellie Coker, ruthless but also ambitious to advance her 6 children, including the enigmatic Elvis, Niven, one of them, whose character has been forged in the crucible of the Somme. But success breeds enemies, and Nellie's empire faces threats from within and without. For beneath the dazzle of Soho's gaiety, there is a dark underbelly, a world in which it is all too easy to become lost. With her unique Dickensian flair, Kate Atkinson brings together a glittering cast of characters in a truly mesmeric novel that captures the uncertainty and mutability of life in a world in which nothing is quite as it seems. I've never heard the word mesmeric or never read it before, but I do feel like I already know what it means. Interesting how context works like that, isn't it? That actually sounds quite interesting and a little bit outside the realm of what we have been reading, so I am quite looking forward to this. I really best get cracking with it though. Maybe give poor little Nevernight a little bit of a break, even though it's starting to get good. But yeah, that's Shrines of Gaiety and it's sounding quite interesting so far. If you hear snoring, it is not me, in fact, asleep while talking to you. It's my lovely little dog Bella. Hey Belle. I'm sorry, disrupted her now. She's not best pleased. Did you notice in the blurb for that book it said something about having a unique Dickensian flair? Well, dear watchers, speaking of Dickens, I mentioned this book where I ranked books based on their first lines, so this was one of those books. I have started to read it, and look, it's alright. Like, it feels like it might be a little bit long-winded, like, oh yeah, this is the part where it's obvious that Dickens was paid by the word, right? But I have been reading it, but very slowly, and then I accidentally left it at my partner's house for about a week, and I wasn't really too upset about that, to be honest. In case you're unaware of what David Copperfield is about, I hear that it is the closest Dickens ever wrote to an autobiography, so I guess it's kind of like autofiction, but it's definitely a novel. But Dickens wrote of David Copperfield, "Of all my books, I like this the best. Millions of readers in almost every language on earth have subsequently come to share the author's own enthusiasm for this greatly loved classic, possibly because of its autobiographical form. Told you so. Following the life of David through many sufferings and great adversity, the reader will also find many light-hearted moments in the company of a host of English fiction's greatest stars, including Mr. Micawber, Traddles, Uriah Heep, Creakle, Betsy Trotwood and the Peggotty family. Few readers arriving at the end of David Copperfield will not wish to echo Thackeray's famous praise, having read the first monthly part. Bravo, Dickens." I don't know about that now, but sure, we'll see. So far I have only met Betsy Trotwood and the Peggotty family, and they actually are probably the most interesting characters so far, but little David has been sent off to school now, so we'll see what happens from there. And then, do you ever just be in the mood for something? Sometimes I say that Stephen King is not one of my favourite authors, and that may or may not be true, but what I will say is I have read a lot of his books. They're very readable, and sometimes I just crave a good Stephen King book. So I've had this one on my shelf for a while. It's Stephen King's The Institute. I'm just feeling a bit in the mood for something a little bit weird, but that isn't necessarily fantasy, something more along the lines of maybe speculative fiction. So the blurb of this book, I actually don't know too much about it. I've heard it gives kind of Stranger Things vibes, but I don't know, maybe that's just because it's about a group of kids. Look, we'll find out from the blurb a little bit more. So Luke Ellis, a super smart 12-year-old with an exceptional gift, is the latest in a long line of kids abducted and taken to a secret government facility hidden deep in the forest in Maine. Stranger Things. Here, kids with special talents, Stranger Things, telekinesis and telepathy. Sorry. Like Luke's new friends, Kalisha, Nick and Iris are subjected to a series of experiments. There seems to be no hope of escape until Luke teams up with an even younger boy whose powers of telepathy are off the scale. I said it right that time. Meanwhile, far away in a small town in South Carolina, former cop Tim Jamieson, looking for the quiet life, has taken a job working for the local sheriff. He doesn't know he's about to take on the biggest case of his career. Stranger Things. This, I wonder, which was made first, Stranger Things or The Institute? When was this published? 2019? Who ripped off who? But I'm actually really looking forward to reading it. I don't care if anybody ripped off anybody else. I love a bit of Stephen King. I am working my way through the Dark Tower series, and the last book that I read was the fourth book, which was actually this month last year. So maybe I should work on that instead of this, but I just feel like in the mood for a bit of Stranger Things, maybe. I don't know. I'm looking forward to reading it. I hope I get around to it because it's been sitting on my shelf for a while and I actively do want to read it. It's not one of those ones that's been passively sitting there for a while, you know. Anyway, moving along. The last book that I hope to get around to this month, I again spoke about this in my TBR ranking by the first line video. That is... I forgot the name of it again. Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. It just sounds like a little bit of strange, like a little bit of me. I feel like I just need to bloody read this book because every month I'm like, I'm gonna read it this month. So lads, I'm gonna read this book this month, and if I don't, then I guess I'll read it another month, right? I'll read the blurb for you, see how you feel about it. So in a neighborhood in Tokyo, 7 young people wake up to find their bedroom mirrors shining. Placing their palms on the surface, they are pulled through into a wondrous castle where they encounter not only each other but also their taskmaster, a bossy young girl in a mask named Wolf Queen. Though they don't know it yet, they all have one thing in common. Eager to uncover the secrets of the castle while keeping their own, their time here will not be without glitches. For a start, each day they must leave by 5 o'clock or face a terrifying penalty. They must all hunt for a key that will grant only one wish. They must tell no one about their experience. As they struggle to abide by the rules of the game and each other's emotional boundaries, a moving story unfolds of 7 characters trapped in a cycle of misunderstanding and loneliness, who are ultimately set free by the power of friendship, empathy, and sacrifice. The word sacrifice at the end of that makes it quite interesting, doesn't it? It kind of feels like, oh, the stakes might be quite high here. I just want to mention the translator of this book, if I can find. Yes, I feel like translators do not get enough credit. So this was translated from Japanese by Philip Gabriel, just to mention that. But doesn't this sound really interesting? I feel like there are a lot of Japanese books out there that are just incredibly intriguing, just really original ideas. Like, they're not writing about what we're, like, the Western world is writing about. Like, they're writing about really strange worlds, kind of like really speculative fiction, kind of mild sci-fi, really interesting stuff. This is another one of those books that I keep saying I'm going to read. I really want to read it, so hopefully this month. Look, if I don't get around to finishing David Copperfield, that's okay, we'll truck along with it. I feel like I always have a bit of a hefty classic on the go in the background that becomes the bane of my life. So look, David Copperfield it is for the next few months, I guess. I'm just gonna put 5 books on the list for now because I feel like I just don't want to put myself under pressure. Reading's supposed to be fun, you know. Okay. Thank you for listening to me babble. So that's me and my 5 books for April. Yes, April. Myself and Bella are gonna bid you adieu. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like a bit of this content. If not, that's okay. I hope you're off to a good start reading in April yourself. What are you reading? What have you been up to? Are you alright? Let me know what's going on. Let me know what you've been reading, and I shall talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.